Oh, right, y'all. We are just about a mile from Hellgate Canyon. We're gonna hop on down there, and then when just do mentally prepare a little bit. When we get down to the bottom of the canyon, we're gonna be pulling out life jackets, things like that. We'll talk about those a little more in depth as we get down there. So in the meantime, I'm gonna hop down here, get the okay from our spotter at Hog Creek, and we'll get down there in just a couple minutes. Coming up here, we've got Hog Creek Boat Launch. Well, gang, this is the first sign things are going to be a little stop and go today. This spot here, kind of you could say is the gateway to the whitewater section on this river. As beyond the canyon down here, rapids get a lot bigger and a lot more frequent. It's not uncommon on some midsummer hot weekend days to see over 1,000 people a day put out of this little boat launch. To give you an idea of how busy it can get, this was a pretty rare day, but again, a handful of years ago, the Bureau of Land Management came down. It was on a 4th of July weekend to do a count of every single person that put in that raft there in a single day. On Saturday of that 4th of July weekend, they counted over 3,000 people put on the river out of that little boat launch there. You have no idea how thankful I am. I was not driving one of these blue boats that day. I don't think it's going to be that bad today, but like I said, we're going to be dealing. I mentioned our spotter back up leaving the restaurant. We got Dan up there today. Dan is going to be following us down all the way down to just above Graves Creek, down to Argo anyway. And we'll be constant communication with him throughout the trip, some of the corners that I'm just not able to see around. We'll be using him quite a bit today. You'll be hearing us going back and forth. You might notice kind of log up to the right, that second shelf of rock up there, up against that rock point. That log has been there since the 1997 flood. There was, up until this winter, a lower stack of logs that was up on that shelf right below it. That was from a high water about 7-8 years ago. That just got washed out this last winter. We had a couple pretty good pushers and they're on the river. This last winter, 2 events hit over 50,000 cubic feet per second. All right, just entering into Hellgate. Most of the rocks you're going to see down here called greenstone, which is a type of basalt. Oh, you notice these water lines lining the canyon walls all the way down. Give you some idea of where the river was at. Just a few weeks ago, that lower line, little gray line, 8-10 inches up off the water, that is where the river was at a week and a half ago. Now way up to the right, you got a guardrail way up there to the right. That's going to be the Merlin Elise roadway. The 64 flood, biggest flood on record on the Road River. That flood at its highest put water 10 feet from that road up there. Washed out a good portion of that Merlin Elise roadway, and it almost doesn't make sense water going up that high, right? You just got to think here in the canyon how narrow it is. It filled it up pretty quickly. Water had nowhere to go but up. Alright, y'all. Let's start digging life jackets out now if we would, just in case we get a little bit of a window down here. I have a feeling we're going to get hung up at the bottom of the canyon here at one raft or around the corner down there. And so we'll be waiting a few minutes. Looks like it might be upside down up there. Make sure, gang, that you have a cool jacket if you get it on. If it feels way too small, you might have a ton of one. When you put those on, help each other out. Make sure that your little head pillow, your neck pillow is out of the vest and dangling off the back. Take off the side straps. If it's one that's a little too small, put on, loosen those up. And when you do get them on, you can kind of snug those straps up, have your neighbors help you tighten those down a little bit. Don't need to tighten them incredibly tight, but make sure they're snug so if we ever did have to use them, that they still would be functioning.
I'll find you one other one. Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Ooh, excellent. Oh, we're pulled over. Nice.
They know the drill.
I wish they all did.
Hey Susan, this is us. Oh, okay. Michelle was like,
Okay, something I'm going to mention as well. Front couple rows, especially front row or two. You guys get the brunt of the bumps up there. We got a good load today. Should mellow down a little bit, but going downriver, it's going to be a little bumpy. I'm sure we've all watched horse racing, yeah? You guys know how those horse jockeys kind of hover over the back of the horse? That's something you're going to kind of want to use a little bit today. You'll kind of grab onto the bar or the seat in front of you and kind of just hover your bottom up over the seat. I will give you the warning on each of the spots that are going to be bumpier than others. So yes, like I said, I'll give you a warning. Just be aware, use it as you wish. Might get to the first one, go, yeah, maybe that is a good idea, or not, whatever feels best. But again, I will warn us through each one of those. How's everyone doing? We got life jackets on, feeling good, snug, or feeling as good as we can. All right, let's get the okay from Don, or Dan. We got Don back up river. We got Dan with us today. We're gonna get the okay from him, and then we're gonna have Don Ripple down here, class 2.5. Gonna be entering the whitewater section with a bit of a bang.
Is that our spotter?
So back there, just passing under the Hellgate Bridge, big yellow bridge back there, that is going to be the third one that's at that spot there. That one we just crossed under, built in 1965. The first one, though, up and running, I believe, 1914. Up until that point, the only way to get across the river was this old dirt road, nothing like the road we got going on down here now, off to the left anyway. The only way down was you'd come down the right side of the river here. There was actually a little ferry, the Massey ferry, that crossed the river right kind of in the vicinity, within a couple hundred yards of us here. They built that first one, like I said, about 1914. That one stood until about 1927, and they got washed out by the 1927 flood. Rebuilt the second one. That second one was stood the 64 flood, and after that flood, it was deemed that it was a little worse for wear. So we took that one apart, rebuilt the new one that we had just passed under there. Coming up here, you're going to have Indianberry Park. One of the most well-maintained county parks here. Beautiful campground. Many, many spots on all sizes. RV spots, full RV hookups, tent spots. They do have a couple of different amenities they offer here. They got the full disc golf course, sand volleyball court.
Beautiful.
Gonna be a good one today, y'all. How's everyone doing? Hanging in out there? Doing all right? Excellent. Yeah, a little different down here, isn't it? Got Rainbow Park here, going into Taylor Creek Canyon. Thank y'all. Like I said, y'all, it's gonna be a little weight game today. Bear with me, gonna get through these spots as quick as possible.
What do they see up there? What's up there? Today, a couple rafts just going into the top of it. Got Dan on the boat launch down there. Hopefully he can fend a couple of them off that are wanting to push out right now. Starting to see some of that Rum Creek fire. Say 3 summers ago. Started just downstream of Grave Creek, which we'll see the remnants of as the Rum Creek fire. The rest of the way downriver now. Pretty devastating little fire for a section of the river here. Burned right up
pretty much around the little town of Galice. No structures lost in Galice. It was pretty remarkable what happened that night. Winds blowing upriver 40, 45 miles an hour, and it was a scene out of a movie you would not want to be a part of. Alright, y'all. Got their Enos now downriver, a couple hundred yards. Going to be going into Carpenter's Island. We'll be dropping down the back side of it, the left side of Carpenter's Island, which we have a few rats just poking into. And I hope that we can hop down there behind them. And then we're going to upper and lower Galice after the fact. Depending on where we meet them down behind the island, might try to sneak, might be able to sneak around them, get into upper, but just know we're kind of into that waiting game. The river from this point on is going to be about the a third of the size that we're at now. And just as many rafts down there, so stay ready. Going to get you down and back through as quick as possible. Uh-oh, might be under attack.
We surrender. Puppy.
Yeah? Oh my gosh, they're like the biggest 100-pound cuddle. Oh. Oh. And they're super smart. And mine like the water. I've had 3, I have 2 now. One like swam to me like holding like a baby. Big baby. Oh. Where is he? Oh yeah, he is. Yeah. Looks like a. I can't tell you now. Super smart and protective. They don't stray far from home. Because I go down to the river and they'll just hang out with me when I'm down there the whole time. Okay, here he comes. Oh, this is fun. They drag their toys everywhere. And you don't have to get their ears done. If you don't do their ears, they're like just like floppy.